Ooh, what's up y'all? Let's rock. So welcome to another video to the Sketch Scheme series. In this video I do an art tour of all my art stuff from years ago up to now. And this video has been recorded after the art video itself, just showing you all that stuff I did. And in retrospect, looking back on it, I just wanted to have the intro real quick to talk about it. I've actually crushed myself, and this is the inspiration of why this series is why it means so much to me, even more so now, because I've crushed myself in a way because I have focused so much on my book stuff and developing that, and also a few things here and there, just focusing mainly on some small Photoshop editing here and there, adding some backgrounds and stuff to make it a little cooler, few filters, but mainly focusing on just penciling and inking, which is great. You know, that is the most basic, but still something you need to work on as an artist, to work on everything else really. But that's all I've really focused on for all these years. I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. And I've grown well as an artist, I feel, but I feel for my age, I'm gonna be 25 next month. I feel I should be on a higher level than I am. So that's why this year I want to, and I know we're late in the year, I mean just as far as like the next 365 days go, that as far as that goes, and onward, I want to work on my craft in more ways, in more exciting ways, to save up and get a Wacom or Bamboo, whatever they're called, tablets, to do more Photoshop, more digital work, and be more professional as a freelance artist, which is what I am technically, and to work more with my penciling and inking, and to work more on other stuff too, like more realism, and still do all the stuff I've been doing before, of course, but have a schedule around it, and to do what I've been doing, like in my red folder that you saw, that you're going to see, I should say, and to have more watercolor stuff in there, more stuff that I showed in the previous video. All that stuff that you saw, I want to use that, and that's going to be a part of my drawing videos to come, and I hope you enjoy that. So what's to come, and let me know what you want to see, how you want me to use those tools, and say, hey, why don't you try doing this with that, you know, engage the community and just see what we can do here, because this is not just my adventure, this is your adventure too, if you choose to embark on this odyssey with me. So I hope you enjoy the video that's to come after this. Let me know anything that you should just be doing on in the future from what you see in this video here, and we'll go from there. This is a growing thing. I'm going to be expanding very well with these sketch videos as far as doing coloring, digital work, traditional work, in general, watercoloring. I'm going to be expanding so much. And thank you for joining me on this adventure. Hope you enjoy. Alright, what's up y'all? Let's rock! So this is a video that's going to show a couple of sketches that I've done throughout the years. Most videos I see of sketchbook tours actually show the year's work of artwork that they've done in, you know, sketchbook here and there. But since I haven't really been doing as many sketches as I've wanted to over the past year or so, I'm just gonna put them all together and then do it that way afterwards. So to jump right into this is most of the artwork you're gonna see here is for my books that I've done, that I'm writing and illustrating currently to get published in the future. So this guy's my version of Tweedledee. Is like a hyena hybrid who's a ringleader actually for a circus that he runs in Wonderland. One of my main books that it's based off of Wonderland, but with its own original story, original take on characters that are inspired by and based on the original Wonderland characters. But it's basically, you would see that it's a reimagining, but it takes it into a completely different way that Wonderland's never been seen of before. I take it into a completely different direction, but it's still a book series that the whole family can enjoy. And this was my concept art of the owl, another very prominent figure in the Wonderland story, that I call it Inked Kingdom, but there's going to be a lot more stuff behind that, a whole series that I planned for it. And Inked Kingdom was actually taking the name itself, but I'm using it in a different way and so forth, which is actually kind of interesting. This guy I call the Monster. He's basically a creature of moss. He's like a parody sort of the Swamp Thing and Man-Thing from Marvel and DC. And this was a little piece I did with the main character Alice, who's walking amongst these two odd creatures of Wonderland, the Griffin and then the Reiter. And I don't know. I just named Reiter because of certain things in the story that made sense. I don't know if I want to keep that name, but yeah. So a lot of these are kind of rough sketches, but as we go further in, you'll see more of the more finished pieces instead of the concept art. I didn't organize these well. I just grabbed them off my shelf. So these are just concept designs of certain characters. Back then, I just loved doing the head. I didn't really like working on the body too much, so there's that. And then there's some more concept art for some of the characters. This was supposed to be a Geppetto-like character, who I'm gonna bring back to the story, but. And actually, these are some other characters who I was still in between my art style back then that I want to have in the story. So, and this was actually drawn by a friend who collaborated with me. To this day, I lost contact with that friend, so I have no idea what that word says there. I know that says quill. I have no idea what that says. So it kind of sucks. Like, I don't know what she named this thing, but it's supposed to be a kind of like a keyblade kind of thing, where it's a quiver, but it's a huge pen that has powers. So I'll just leave it at that. And this was a concept art of a character called Kid Ink, kind of what I'd imagine a character I would design if Kid Buu from Dragon Ball Z and Janemba, also from Dragon Ball Z, were. Well, that's what the character's inspired by. And this was another random one that I did. That's a mask that she's wearing, and she has she has like the quill type. Well, it's a big pen weapon. I based it more off a keyblade this time around. Supposed to have a paintbrush there, but I messed up, so I have a lot of white ink. So as you can tell, these sketches are really old. This is not how I draw now. I mean, it is kind of how I draw now, but I do more to the pages. So now we're getting to some of the monsters. This one was what I did for a, who was this? This was for the Jabberwocky, there we go. And this was one of my versions of the Jabberwocky. I really liked doing this one. I was really lazy back then. I still have that feeling, unfortunately. I don't know. Let me know if you're an artist. Let me know if you have this feeling, or if you just try to draw yourself and you have those feelings when you want to continue drawing but you just lose interest or just patience with the drawing. So that's something I'm trying to fight now. This was my version of the Red Queen, who has been taken over by a malevolent thing that's going on in Wonderland. It kind of has this dark look to her now. She always had this dark look to her to begin with, but now she looks, it's almost like a symbiotic thing that's going on in Wonderland with something. I don't want to go too deep into the story and ruin it, but this was supposed to be a bad guy. This character was really one of my favorites for a while. Her name used to be Zephyr, or Zephyr, I think it was Zephyr because I wanted to give it a more feminine sound to it, but she was supposed to be a bad guy in my Kingdom Hearts fan fiction called Shattered Ties, and she was supposed to be a mixture of, design-wise, the Birth by Sleep armor characters that Terra, Vin, and Aqua wear, as well as a mixture of, I forget what else to be honest, but she was supposed to be a mixture of that and something else, kind of like a jokester type character, a mixture of that, but still just mean in general. And this was when I was doing a bunch of character, what are these things called? Just character pages in general. So this one was called The Ink Eater Ravage. So obviously with a story like Inked Kingdom, there's a lot of heavy emphasis on ink and what it does in the storyline. So this was, this character Ravage, he was inspired by Venom. and I look forward to introducing him into the story. He comes kind of late into it, but I cannot wait. This character, Veradello, he is supposed to be a mixture of a lion and a monkey, and he was heavily inspired by Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, and he's gone through some intense redesigns over the last couple years, but I always look back to this and think I really miss that character and hope I can bring it back in some sort of way. But as of right now, Veradello does no longer look like that, because I have a lot of characters, so I had to combine and put a couple together to make it short. So this was a really early concept of Alice, one of the very first ones I drew when I was trying to feel who I was drawing. Now, currently she is not the main character of the story. She does become a main character later on in the series, but currently her mother actually is the main character, and other characters from that take over and so forth. So this was some weapon design I was working of called some dream catcher stuff, because of course you gotta have dreams in there eventually. And so this was some early concepts of my Alice in Wonderland stuff, back when it was called Dare to Wonder. And I kind of want to go back to that title someday, but because I really loved how I designed this. This was inspired by another friend who actually did this type of lettering, and I thought, yo, can I use that for my art? She was like, yeah, cool. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. So this was an unfinished piece I did for the cover. But this was, so the title was A Place to Escape That Needs It. So it was a place that you could once go and have freedom, but it needs its own escape, and now it's a dangerous place. And that was the theme behind it. So you have a Red Riding Hood character here, the wolf, because originally this story was supposed to follow Red Riding Hood, which was originally supposed to be Alice's sister. But like I said, I'm saying all this stuff now because that story has been going through so many changes that you probably can't even see this. This was a rough concept with a story arc with time. But as I was saying, this story has taken so many turns and stuff now that none of it, all the stuff I'm saying now is different. So that's why I'm saying it now, you don't have to worry about any spoilers. So now we're getting to the big sketches that I've done on the pages. This was a story called Stargazer, and this was originally supposed to be about characters who got kidnapped. They were in the army, and they got kidnapped and then were changed drastically to certain things. Like this girl, a pilot, got turned into this kind of fiery alien, and I was trying to take it into a unique way instead of, oh, they got in contact of radioactivity, now they're superheroes. I wasn't trying to go that route. So this guy is my version of the Mad Hatter, who is currently in a strange armor, and I call this the Dragon Buster armor because at one point in the story he did go up against the Jabberwocky, not by himself of course, but this is what he used to help his friends fight the thing. And in my story, he is a technical guy. He loves working on technology, and he actually does a lot of crazy cool stuff with it. And his hat has a pocket dimension in it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this is some early concept work of my characters back when they still looked like this. When you see them in the future, you're still gonna recognize them for sure, but like him, for instance, he looks actually drastic, and actually he looks drastic too, but she will still look the same. You'll still be able to recognize her. So as you can see here, she has a pen here, and she's controlling the ink, and they're kind of coming out of it. That was supposed to be this whole concept here for the cover, is she had the ink spread out like this, and then there's other people coming out of here. So I never finished that, but I keep it because the bottom part there was so cool. I know I want to come back to it eventually, but after I redesign all the characters and reintroduce the stories like I wanted to do properly. So this was supposed to be another title that actually connects to the Alice in Wonderland story, but it deals more so with dreams and other things like that. So this was supposed to be like the epilogue to the next book, because I finished this one originally, but this was, like I said, this was back when I wanted to redesign and just retouch the stories and make them more interesting and not as rough as I did before. So as you can see here, I got the one character swinging from the street light because why not? Kid, that's not your dog, at least not anymore. And then the one little girl is chasing after her dog, or at least what used to be her dog. She's like, come back, Allie. And then this is what the dog kind of morphed into thanks to the dreams. And then my other character riding him, trying to tame the beast right there. And there's the original sketch of Aradella that we saw earlier. It's a random dog and a butterfly that I actually designed for a friend who got it as a tattoo. I actually redesigned that a lot, but as I said before, a lot of this stuff was for my book before I started branching out and doing more things. This was what I was so bent on doing, is just designing and getting stuff out for my book. But so this was my version of Frankenstein's monster. I called him Frankie, of course, why not? Then there's Gale, and then Persephone. So as you can see, this looks like Alice. I won't go into why just yet, but Frankenstein's monster's family. So that was a really fun piece. I look forward to doing that again in the future, continuing that story arc and just connecting everything so everything makes sense. I have a lot of story arcs, it's ridiculous. So this is I did a DC and Marvel thing where there's like alternate reality, so this was a different version, a different take of the current Alice in Wonderland called the LG Remix. So LG stands for Looking Glass, so this was an alternate take of it, taking place in an alternate universe. So you got the main character there, another main character, and there's Alice right there who looks a bit puppet-like for some reason. There's a version of the Jabberwocky, and then there's the owl that we saw earlier. So there's that. And this was back when I was gonna make the book originally into a comic book, but then I realized I don't like drawing repetition stuff. So this was a panel I originally did for the opening of the book, and this was really fun. I really enjoyed doing this because this was when I started actually doing big pieces of stuff. And this, I loved this so much. This was inspired by Kingdom Hearts, so I tried to draw it in the same type of fashion, and man, I love doing it. So I even used the word different heroes, same story, because this was back during the original 10-year anniversary of Kingdom Hearts, and what I did was I was going to draw this, and then I was going to draw the original cover to Kingdom Hearts on the other side to show that this was inspired, and Kingdom was mainly inspired by things like Kingdom Hearts, Epic Mickey, Alan Wake, and so forth. So this was a few other pieces here of the other book. So sorry if I'm talking a lot, but I just wanted to tell you guys what this stuff is. This huge stain, I don't even know where that came from. To tell you guys what this stuff even is, so it kind of makes sense. So. But yeah, so the rest of the stuff I'm not really going to talk about it. I'm just going to show you. And if you want to read it, you can pause the video. But I'm really, like, to this day, I'm still really proud of this, that I actually took the time to do all this still. But it kind of saddens me that this stuff, like, some of the stories will make it to the final book once I actually get to it. But as far as these original panels go, I can't really use them because the characters won't look like this anymore. As far as, you know, they may look still similar, but they'll have different designs and just more refined. So this was the second time I refined the book. So I'm kind of mad. This is going to be the third time for this first book alone I have to refine, but I've been doing other ones as well. It's just this first one was my baby, so I have to make sure that it's exactly how I want to envision it, which means doing a lot better than what I've been doing. Personally, it's one of those artist curse where we think nothing we do is really at the best it could be, but I'll get there. So, question of the day: what is your favorite art piece if you're an artist? And I mean, what's your favorite art piece you've seen of mine? You know, I would wait to the end of the video to see, but just in case. But you know, let me know what's your favorite art piece that you ever done, or favorite art piece of an artist that you just enjoy and that you just love seeing. And just what inspires you as an artist? What makes you want to draw if you want to start drawing? What style do you want to work with? You know, just talk about it. Whatever you want to talk about with art, just let me know in the comments below. This was supposed to be a t-shirt design that I'll get to eventually. I have to redesign that. I'm glad I found that actually. That's a random note there. So this is gonna be a long video. I just realized that. It's like over 10 minutes now, and I'm not even halfway through this stack. It's pretty nuts. So this actually was inspired by Pirates of the Caribbean, the ending to the second movie, where, spoiler, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's an awesome series, where Jack is in front of the crack and he's like, "Hello, beastie," and just goes out fighting. So I don't know why, I just decided to draw Captain Jack Sparrow as an owl, and I just did that scene there and just colored it. So I thought, why not? I kind of want to just make this into a t-shirt too, just because it just looks awesome, but we'll see. I just want to make a lot of things into t-shirts and just things people can wear for some reason. So this was a blank page for some reason. I don't know why that was in there. And this, I wish I could remember the app, but there's this app you can get. If I remember, I'll post a link to it in the description, but this was an art thing where it shows you a bunch of stuff and you basically piece it together. Like this one was Golem doing graffiti, and I drew him doing a spray can on him that says "Mom." So, you know, the classic tough guy who has a tattoo of a heart on his shoulder that says "Mom," you know, heart mom. So I did that. It's a drawing app that just has you draw random words put together and make a piece out of it. So some more characters from my books, and this takes me back. This was, I think this was originally inspired by Inception. I called it Somni Oku. Somni was like the Latin term of dream, if I remember correctly. It was at least a part of it, and Oku was like Oculus, so it was like a Latin term for eye or sight or something like that. So this was the first vision I had of the dream story arc that I'll be working on eventually. But this part was my first. This was my most fun thing, my most favorite thing drawing here, and then the second, that stuff breaking up there. Okay, so other characters here. These two were actually both for my Kingdom Hearts fan fiction. That actually involved having Captain Silver from Treasure Planet as a main character, because my fan fiction followed characters who weren't the main characters of the actual series. They were actually my own original characters that I made. Like Verdello and the other character you saw beside Alice, that were gonna be they were gonna help with, what's his name, Captain Silver, and do their own thing, because it was a whole original story I had behind it. So this was a mashup I did a while back with it was called Pokemon meets the Men in Black. So this was if the characters from Pokemon worked with the Men in Black. So you have Ash, Pikachu, and Misty there with their sunglasses on. Ash is like, "Hey Brock, where are your shades?" And you see Misty kind of confused and tilts hers down, and then Brock is like, "Don't worry, I don't need my shades." At the close-up, "I never need my shades." So this was a joke because Brock's eyes always look like they're closed, and I just thought that was hilarious that they just were drawn that way to make you think they were, but he just had really squinty eyes for some reason. Kind of like how Clark Kent was in the classic Superman cartoons. And actually, I forgot about this. I'm gonna go back to that eventually. This was a piece I did for a friend. She wanted me to draw Anubis, so I just drew Anubis. Yeah. So this was part of the Kingdom Hearts fan fiction, back when his name was Raquel, and this was his Keyblade called the Dawn of Sketch. He was actually originally a guy who came from the epic Mickey world. He was one of Yen Sid's creatures, and he was actually, I won't go too much into it because I do want to go back to that story eventually, but yeah, he was related to Yen Sid in a way. This was a Jabberwocky design I did, and then just some, oops, it wasn't the right way. Just some eyes and some ink for some reason, I have no idea. Some random pages. Alice here again in a steampunk outfit, look like. Cheshire Cat, one of the versions of it. I like this version a lot. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it though, but we'll see. I gotta go through all these again eventually anyway to figure out where I want to go with this. So this is Raquel here too at a younger age, and his sister Isabella, as you saw earlier. And this is when they actually first meet each other. Go figure. And you kind of see here that, you know, Raquel's trying to show off like, yeah, look what I can do. And she's like, yeah, I could do that too, only I'm faster and stronger. This was a classic piece I did that, you know, for Alice in Wonderland. You have the Mad Hatter there, Alice falling down, and the White Rabbit kind of like trying to, you know, kind of help her out a little bit, show her that, you know, you're in a safe place. Because if you can see here, she has a smile on her face as she's falling down, so she's aware that she's, you know, safe. Some more comic panels. I redid this, I think, 3 times because I wanted to get the. Because I can't lie. I love paneling. It is so fun, but oh man, it is hard. And as you can see, I add a lot of detail, but as far as like the pros out there who add so much details in the background, all that stuff to it, you know, that's definitely a paying gig. You need money to do that. Or at least it's easier to want to do it, even if you have the passion behind the drawing. Having the money behind it helps a lot. But, you know, I still love it, and I still love drawing, so that's what matters. And this was another comic piece I did. So soon here, and as I'll say at the beginning of the video here, my intro to the video is, this was the only bad thing that I regret from doing all these pieces, and just that was I didn't get to really explore much else outside of that. And perfect time of saying that, this is a piece I did for, it was a fan piece, as you can see if you're a fan of DC or Green Lantern in general. This was the original comic book art to Green Lantern Blackest Night, and I didn't get to fit everything on there because I didn't portion it correctly, but this was one of my favorite pieces because I don't do fan art that often, so when I do it, it's definitely something different, excluding that one because that wasn't a different piece. That was just something that I just looked at and drew. Usually when I do fan art, it's a mashup of some sort or something that you're not going to see from every other person that does fan art. So this was another cover art I was going to do for my book. This was when I was really big into superheroes, so I wanted to make all my characters with superhero outfits, which I still kind of do, but not as much. So soon we're going to get to more pieces that are kind of a little lazy because we're just working on character designs, but then abandon them because I lost interest. But here's some more art pieces that never made it to the official book. So as you can see, a lot of my pieces still dwell with inking and whatnot. So that's what messed me up too, and why this year I want to work more so on doing more than just traditional artwork, but doing more than inking and sketching. But doing painting and coloring in general, and also digital artwork when I get the bamboo tablet and so forth later on in the future. And this was, I love doing graffiti too. This was really fun. So from there, I drew Gurr with a Mickey Mouse axe. He went to Disney for some reason. I drew a lion roaring out this heartbeat, so to speak, with music and stuff. It's supposed to be metaphorical that, you know, do and say what you love. And that's supposed to be kind of what this is supposed to represent. This was a picture I did of a friend. I like doing realism, but I don't love it, so most of my artwork, as you see, is more so cartooning. But like I said, this year is supposed to be me really expanding my craft and doing a lot more than what I usually do. So that's why I thought this would be the perfect time to do a YouTube to start my YouTube art stuff, because now I'm really expanding my art and just craft in general. This is one of my favorite and most popular pieces ever. This is part of my Jurassic Hood series. It's not a story really, it's just drawings that I've done. So Velociraptor saying "What's up?" and then he has the Flavor Flav rapper chained in the fresh background. He's kind of like "Yo" with his arms out like that. I don't know where I even thought of that. I just thought, why not? And this was another art picture that I did. Art picture. This is another cover I did for the book I actually released. Inked Kingdom Departure, which was the first volume to the LG Remix series. And this was a gender bend I did of Nightwing. If Nightwing was a woman and, you know, originally a woman, that's how she would have been. This was a hero concept I gave up on because I redesigned them. Another monster called the Monster. If you know who I'm referencing there, give a thumbs up. Mega Man-esque character I was working on. And another book cover, I Believe in Monsters it's called. So the kid's kind of walking there like, you know, like he doesn't have a care in the world. Meanwhile, he has all these monsters going after him. He's just like, I don't care. I believe, I know you guys can hurt me, but I believe and I know how to fight back. So that's basically the thought process of that. So as you can see, this art book is real jacked up, but I haven't done too much in it yet. Mainly, well, as you can see, most of the big art pieces that you saw before that have come from either this sketchbook or another one. So yeah, so this is going to be the last part as far as my art showcase. Then I'll show you guys the art books I draw with and what else I do. So this is the stuff I've been working on this year. So with this book, oh shoot, one sec, there we go. So this one I titled The Crazy Panda, and this was supposed to be originally a mascot for my series. I drew this a couple years ago actually, and then just finished it a couple days ago. So it's supposed to be like the many faces of, you know, happy, sad, angry, and then killer. So angry, he has like a flame over here. Then killer, he's riding killer whale with a bat in his hand. Originally it's supposed to be a gun, but I'm like, let's just do a bat. So I did this more anime style. I don't really do anime that often, hardly ever. So when I do, it's that. So this was Adam West donning his Batman cowl. I drew this shortly after his death. I was really saddened by that because I really liked Adam West. I thought he was a really cool guy. So I thought I'd draw that in remembrance, in memory of him, I should say. So this was another piece to the Jurassic Hood line I was doing. So of course this was the classic Jurassic Park logo, but instead I gave him the hat on there backwards and the Flavor Flav chain, kind of like the Velociraptor. And another original piece I did of an elephant. Supposed to say smart, loyal, and strong, but I forgot the R in there, so glad I'm not a tattoo artist. That would have been awkward. Always spell check your stuff before inking it, people. It's supposed to be Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Terminator. Back when Terminator Genesis came out, I loved that movie. that was so sick. Like, they had so many Terminators in there. They were like so many Terminators from the previous movies. Like, it was so crazy. I don't understand why people didn't like that movie. I thought it was really good. I liked all the Terminator movies except for, I mean, like, okay, so the previous two before that weren't my favorites. They weren't the best, but they were still decent. But like I said, they weren't ones I loved, but I enjoyed all of them. I just wanted to say that. So this was the Walking Dead taco. If you guys aren't familiar with walking tacos, look it up. You're missing out. They are delicious. So I thought, why not combine the two? The Walking Dead taco, because the Walking Dead's, you know, a pretty big thing right now. Then I said, Red Pure Lies Mr. Taco, Gone But Not Eaten, 2014 through, you know, whatever. So this was one I did of Pokemon. And like I said, I don't do fan art often. So I did one of Lucario because he's one of my favorite Pokemon next to Mewtwo. And I just thought, why not? So I tried out gel pen as far as coloring him, and that came out interesting, I felt. So Civil War, drew this back when Civil War was, you know, new. And I drew this classic piece because this was my favorite posters for Civil War. And if you recognize this guy, this was the owl, the theme and just mascot for the What's Up Odyssey podcast in general. So these are some more pieces. I'm just gonna actually just zoom in here and do it this way. So I don't have to move it so often. So this piece here was actually inspired by the fireman piece you saw earlier. So you have him here, then you have a silhouette of him here reaching out to the woman who he may have lost. There's supposed to be a story behind this, but I haven't really delved into it much yet. I think I've pretty much come to the part where I have to redesign this because it's a little bit too rough, in my opinion, to be a t-shirt, which is what it was supposed to be originally. This was a piece for my upcoming book that's titled Red. So that's the cover for that. This was a van that's supposed to be a staple in this series, a trademark. It's inspired by the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo, and for very good reasons. This van is called the Big Bad Wolf, and as you can see, there's pages going through it. There's a wolf on there, stenciled. Character art here. Another design for a book I did. Some character designs here for the main character. Another Deadpool inspired character. I call him the Dark Fedora. That's how he's supposed to look when he puts on his hat, just like these little beady eyes, and he has a feather on there. More character designs. So this one was interesting. I'm going to zoom in on this again here if I can. There we go. So this one's another character design. I drew Mr. Bean, kind of caricatured him a little bit. Then an unfinished version of Yoda, I should say. Another Scooby-Doo styled picture where he's looking out of his little security booth here, and meanwhile he doesn't see this monster coming up on him. This piece I called The Punch from Space. A monster gazing up into the sky, seeing this guy coming down from space about to punch him. That was inspired by Superhero Cafe series from How It Should Have Ended. This is a dinosaur who's composed of ink, really. And so here's another piece. Luke Skywalker as seen in episode 7, The Force Awakens, and Luke Skywalker as seen in The Return of the Jedi. And there's a lighthouse there, made up of many lighthouses, called the Lighthouse Graveyard. Some more character designs there. So now I'm getting, now here, as you can see, I'm no longer getting as lazy. I'm actually drawing my characters fully out and really getting a feel for them and seeing if this is how I want to go for them as far as looks go. More character designs. This was originally for a Roger Rabbit fan fiction I wanted to do. I forget what it's even supposed to be called, but she was supposed to be like the main character, a cousin to Roger Rabbit. And this piece I'm really proud of. This is actually one of my most favorite pieces of the year. So if you can't tell, obviously this is Mickey, Donald, and Goofy down here just being friends. And so I have The Rock back here, back in his early days as a wrestler, and I think right when he was starting to get into the movie business, you know, back when he had hair, before he started shaving it. And so you have Moe, Curly, and Larry from the Three Stooges, because I thought, how cool would it have been if they were in a movie together? I know that's not going to happen nowadays because, you know, the Three Stooges have passed, but I thought, you know, if they could ever reprise their roles. I don't remember if the Three Stooges movie did any good for it to be a sequel, but since it's been years since the movie came out, I haven't seen it yet. I wish I did because I love the Three Stooges, but since I haven't heard much of it, I guess it didn't do well, but I still want to see it because I just love the Three Stooges. So this is when I got into doing some caricatures. I'm still trying to figure out how to do them effectively, so basically I looked at other caricatures and just drew them like that. So I drew one of Will Smith here, Samuel L. Jackson. I did just a drawing of a kid and a cat there that I didn't finish. I drew an Asari from Mass Effect. This was supposed to be Liara originally, but I didn't really capture her look per se, because obviously she looks different from your average Asari. I did Robin Williams here. This was just because I mean, this was this year. Robin passed a couple years ago, so I just drew this one because this was one of my favorite pieces, one of my favorite pictures of him that I drew. You're only given a little spark of madness. You mustn't lose him. One of my favorite quotes from Robin Williams, as he has a shirt over him. Then I drew Morton from Mass Effect 2. Really a great character, really great game. I don't even know what this is, to be honest. I just drew it. It's supposed to be like a tree going through like a bird. I don't know. It's supposed to be symbolic. Mario, if he was a Mega Man character. I wish I came up with this. I drew this. I just freehanded it, sketched it from another thing. I don't know who drew this originally, but I just looked at it and then drew my version of it. So Samurai Jack, if you haven't seen my reaction to it, check it out on my channel here. I did a reaction to the alternate ending to this, and actually how I feel about the ending in general as a podcast. So I drew this, you know, the final scene of Samurai Jack down here, then the first scene of Jack and Ashi kissing, back to the past, Samurai Jack. Okay, so, but yeah, I had to draw this because this was after my initial reaction to the Samurai Jack ending, and I just had to draw this because I felt, Ashi, why? Come back. But, so of course, the greatest boss ever, Michael Scott, from The Office, had to draw him as a caricature. Of course, Mickey Mouse in Kingdom Hearts, the Yoda of Kingdom Hearts. And this one of my original pieces I call Ocean Eyes. So a bunch of waves here, and there's supposed to be an eye right there. It's supposed to mean the eyes are just as beautiful as the ocean, and you can just gaze gaze upon them and feel like you're swimming through the person's soul, their mind, their heart, you know, just gazing into them. You can, you know how they say the eyes are the gateway to the soul, that sort of thing. And here was a rough concept art of what I wanted to go with it. I kind of like this one a bit more because of just how bigger it was and how close in it was, but this one I still love a lot, and either way I still like both. And this was the original Jurassic Hood one that you saw earlier. This was the original version of it. After I drew the Velociraptor one, the other one I made on the white paper. And drew another one as The Rock. I think back when he was in Fast and Furious 5 or something, Fast 5. Then this one randomly just drew the gorilla. Don't mess with my groove. He's wearing headphones and he has that weird smiley on there. Then I drew Godzilla. Jurassic UFO. This one was a tattoo that I decided to redesign a little bit. I'm gonna touch it up and make it more of my own later on, but I I already redrew the dinosaur. Like, this is my own original dinosaur that I put in there. The original tattoo had a different looking one in there, so I did that at least differently. Another original piece here, just a random whale, and just, it's kind of like different rain, different watercolors, I should say. Different colors of water, I should say, and then she's like, umbrella. It doesn't really mean anything, I just wanted to draw it. I don't know why, I just did. And of course, the best calibrator to have, Garrus, Mass Effect 2. I love that close-up of him a lot, and that was him from Mass Effect 2, as you can tell from the scarring. Some more character designs, and that is something that I won't talk on because that's part of a future drawing video that I won't talk about here. But yeah, so some more character designs here. Let me take these out real quick. Character designs. So this one I do Stitch doing Kamehameha just because that was the sketch. That was the Stitch I did way back when, my first drawing video on YouTube. That was the Stitch I drew. I don't even know what that is. My Commander Shepard, my version of him, and of course Tali saying, "Ready to save the galaxy, my love." So Tali's of course my favorite female character in Mass Effect. So of course I drew her next to my version of Shepard. And a random piece where you have an elephant and a hippo singing throughout the jungle, and everyone's like, "No, what are you doing? Stop singing, make it stop." So I wrote here, the hippos and the elephants sang a song, but no one else would sing along, for obvious reasons. Here's a whale with stuff on it for some reason. The Foxy pop figure, which currently I sadly do not own. Actually, do I? Let me double check. Maybe I do own it. Looking up there, oh, actually I do have the Foxy pop figure. He was actually my favorite animatronic from Five Nights at Freddy's. I have a lot of favorites. They all look really cool to me, to be honest. This was another t-shirt design I'm working on, Keep Your Dreams in Scope. So a person drawing, and so in scope because it's just metaphorical. It's symbolic, I should say. Bleh. My brain hurts. I'm not gonna try and explain this right now. If you actually know what this represents, let me know in the comment section below. I'm hungry right now as I'm recording this, so I can't really think properly at the moment. Some background silhouetting I was doing as well. Really enjoyed working on this. So I drew the Lego Jared Leto here, and I kind of drew it like someone else is drawing him, drawception. Some more character designs. Elephant with a paintbrush, I have no idea. I have no idea. And this is the last piece here. Really cool sketchbook. This is good for pencil, ink, marker, acrylic, watercolor, etc. Only bad thing is it only comes with 10 sheets of paper, and I didn't use it effectively because I just did this stuff. More character designs. More character designs. Ben Stiller from, I think, Meet the Fockers, something like that. Character designs. Character designs. Character designs. And this piece. This was supposed to be two pieces of the same puzzle. That was supposed to be a heart shape, but I messed it up because I drew this part too close up. But yeah, it's supposed to be me and my wife. And that's it. So that was a very rough version of my art tour. So looking back through all of these, I'm glad for many reasons why I did this, because it shows me what I need to work on, and that I should pretty much do more with my art than just penciling, inkling that. So while this may be my favorite part of drawing and the easiest in my opinion, or usually the easiest, I realize now that I need to expand my craft and do more, because I know I can find more enjoyment out of more stuff. But you know, I'll talk more about that at a later point. So these are some pages that I draw with whenever I want to draw just different colors to make the sketches pop more. I haven't used these too often just yet, but I look forward to using these in the future. And this is basically construction paper, if I remember correctly. It's just construction paper. So the white charcoal pencils I showed in the last video would really shine on this. Well, not this, more so pages like that. So go crazy with that. If you're an upcoming artist and want to learn the best ways to learn how to draw, always have a portable small sketchbook, pocket sketchbook with you at all times and just draw. And I forgot to show you guys this one too. One of Mega Man I drew, the original Mega Man, back when, Sarah Fisher, almost forgot her name. Wow. Back when Sarah Fisher died, I drew this piece, her and her, Princess Leia and Darth Vader. So there was that. I almost said Padme. Proto Man, a tiger, and I haven't filled this sketchbook out much yet, but yeah, always bring this with you. Draw when you can. Draw as often as you can. If you like more digital stuff, there's plenty of art. There's plenty of art things you can do on your phone or tablet. Just bring something with you can draw on. This is a gift my wife gave me. Such a beautiful night. So it's supposed to be a sketchbook, but with black. So I'm trying to figure out the best ways to draw on this. So this is one I did of Mickey, and of course, whenever I draw Mickey, it's got to be Kingdom Hearts. It's just classic. I can't do it. I can't not do it. So these are the sketchbooks that I am going to be filling out. So this one is going to be the sketchbook you're probably going to see for the majority of my art videos on this channel for this sketch scheme series. This is a mixed media Canson brand that I got from AC Moore. It was actually on sale for $5. Usually I think these run you like $10 to $15 depending on where you get it. So this is a mixed media. This is what you want to get if you want to expand and really explore what kind of styles you want to do, because the mixed media is good for all types of stuff. So it's good for acrylic, watercolor, pen and pencil, and so forth. So with this, you can work with multiple things among the pages and not have to worry about too many things bleeding through. But just be careful, because it says pen and pencil, but be careful with Sharpie, for instance, because Sharpie may not be covered, because it's a marker technically. So notice it says pen and paper. Sharpies are markers, so generally it's a possibility that it may bleed through. So before you start using a marker, for instance, put some paper underneath so you don't potentially ruin a page that you plan on sketching on. So that's something to remember when you draw with marker like I do. You tend to pick up certain things like that. So this is the brown ton paper that I've used a lot and don't even have the cover to it anymore. This is how much I have left of it, because when I found out that this was a thing, my one friend Cliff Cherry, I did an interview with him on my podcast series here on YouTube. Check it out. We talk about art and what inspires him and what inspires me, and etc. So that brand up there was Strathmore. This is another Strathmore, something like that. This is the toned gray. I haven't actually touched this yet. I've done a few, but I took it out and put it in my folder there, as you saw. So there's that. You can pick these up mainly at art stores in general. I haven't seen these at Walmart yet. Walmart, you can generally get cheaper stuff there, but usually with Walmart they just carry standard sketchbooks. So there's that, and that's pretty much it. Again, thanks again for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and share the word. It really helps me out to get my channel out there and just to reach more people and reach the hearts. The next video is going to be the Batman parody. You did see a brief glimpse of it earlier, but that's only going to be 1/4 of the actual picture, so look forward to that. And I think that's it, really. If there's anything else, I hope I don't miss it, but I probably am, because I need to start making notes for these videos. But until the wind hits our sails yet again, I'll see you in the next Odyssey. Later days.